The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison, and Jess Navarez.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Christy Scales, Aisha Morrison, Nicole Hutchison says she will be here shortly. I'm Jess Navarez here at the SWBC Podcast Studios. Ladies, we're going to kick things off with Nicole. Like I said, she'll be joining us in just a second, but happy post-Thanksgiving. I hope you all had some good food. Obviously, a great game to talk about. But we haven't talked, and it feels like it's been forever.
It's been some days, baby.
It's been a minute. Christy, first of all, how was your Thanksgiving?
Awesome. But it was made better. Are you kidding? Dolly Parton and DaRon Bland.
Oh, man. You can't get any better than that. Apparently, if your name starts with a D,
There you go.
You're a goat. Aisha, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was cool. I was surrounded by my family. It was really cool. I mean, serving, I didn't realize how much time I missed, and I missed Thanksgivings and holidays so much. So now being able to be with my family, I really cherish the time that I get to be with them. That was getting on my nerves during the game. That's the downside.
They trying to talk to you while you're watching?
Baby, that's the downside. Like, love family. Family watching football. It was something, but I enjoyed the time I spent with them, and I had some leftovers to prove it. So
Well, a lot of families were watching. Over 41 million viewers. Unbelievable.
I would say that is
wow.
a
That
lot of
that
families.
is so high. I wonder how many Dolly brought in on her own. But I mean, Cowboys, the middle slot, late afternoon slot on Thursday, the Cowboys have always rated so highly.
Yep.
And is the sweet spot time-wise. But the Sunday night game, and that was a good game, Seattle and San Francisco was supposed to be. Seattle really put it on, got it put upon them in the first half. But that drew 27 million, which was a great number for them. But compared to 41 million, unbelievable. How was your Thanksgiving, by the
My
way?
Thanksgiving was good. I spent it with my boyfriend and his family. They were so nice to host me, and they did say anything but bland, so that obviously made me very happy.
come on, boyfriend.
So
that is
share with everyone your conversation with DaRon today in the
Oh,
locker room.
man. Okay. Just so you guys know, when I say anything but bland, it is DaRon Bland approved. He loved it, and we may or may not have a little surprise coming soon that I talked to him about. So he was very excited about it. The first time I told him about it, he was like, I mean, I've heard variations of it, but not like that. And then we just got to talking about it, and he said he loved it. So I can be obnoxious, and I can say it as many times on here with the stamp of approval from our guy, DaRon Bland.
What was so cool about Thursday, and you guys have heard me talk about it before, what's cool about being down on the sideline is to see the way that players and coaches interact with each other, older players with younger players and things like that. But you can tell how highly regarded someone is on their own team by the way their teammates react or something good or even bad happens. And that celebration with DaRon Bland after he scored, actually it started as he was running 63 yards. I'd say about 20 yards into his 63-yard weaving and stuff. Everybody was up on the bench and running down the sideline with him and going crazy. And, of course, Mike McCarthy had to call a timeout because there was so much celebrating going on. And by the time DaRon got back to the bench area, I mean, they had already kicked off.
Yep.
They had done the extra point, kicked off, and Washington had like 2 plays on offense before DaRon could even sit on the bench because he was being mobbed by his teammates.
They were trying to dump him in the kettle, right?
Well, they did do that. This is after they dumped him in the kettle.
Oh, I see.
And he got back to the bench, and not just the coaches and players, but every single staff member. And it was just as exuberant and joyous an occasion on the sideline as I can remember.
Yeah.
And everyone knew it was history, so I think they appreciated that. But it just shows you how much they think of DaRon, the person, and his humility, how hard he's worked, not to mention how great he is at pick sixes.
Absolutely. And, it's one of those moments where I just imagine somebody who doesn't keep up with the Cowboys and doesn't kind of know what's going on, and that was the history-making play, seeing how crazy all of the Cowboys fans went in that moment in the fourth quarter. You already are up
blowout.
40 points.
Yeah.
And it was so special. It was so special, and I think it happening on the Thanksgiving Day game just made it 10 times more special for him. Aisha, you obviously know a little bit about DaRon.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to the historic 5th pick six of the season, the first in NFL history? First time that you see that happen.
I was more excited about like the run back and just like the skill, the vision that it took for him to get into the end zone. We talked about the reaction, the sideline reaction. Everybody was going crazy. Brandon Cooks was like hopping in the air.
Yeah.
He was so excited. But for me, I mean, honestly, because if you look at that game, they were heavily targeting him, and even to his standards, I talked to him in the locker room, he felt like he definitely could have played better throughout that game. And so for him, his response, it's something about DaRon that I've liked and I appreciate about his game. I think it's easy when we talk about corner to be like short-term memory, but to actually see it personified in a person where if he has a play where he has a mistake or anything, he comes back the next play and he's still aggressive, he's still physical, he's still that guy. And so to me, it just showed again his resilience, his response to adversity, because there was some this game for him, and I was just, of course, just like on the money. He's just like, yeah, I'm still gonna make you pay. Like, I mean, and that's the threat that he poses. It's like, you might get him sometimes. Every cornerback's going to have their games. They're going to have times where offenses are trying to pick and choose what they want to have stop or what they want to go at. And the fact that that didn't bother him, and he still showed like, you can do this all game if you want to. I'm going to get one. Like, one of these I'm going to get. So the threat, he just continues to show the threat of taking the ball away and putting up points. Is a different category. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if Brian said this. I heard him talking about the with the pick six, what it is in comparison, and it seems like it's like, I think he said it's like it accounts for almost like 4 sacks in comparison when we talk about the statistics and stuff. So it's just a big deal to get points from your defense and to continue to get points from your defense. So just an added element, man. It's exciting. And we talked to him. He's such a good human.
Such a sweetheart.
That's the best part
So
about
humble.
it, is that he's just, it is not fake humility.
Right.
No.
Because, baby, there's some, like there's sometimes some of that too. So in this sport. So, yeah, really deserving player. It was dope to see.
45-10, your final score, your Dallas Cowboys, given the Washington Commanders Thanksgiving Day beatdown. Nicole is back with us. Nicole, hello. We're talking about DaRon Bland. I wanted to open the mic back up to you.
Yes.
Anything but Bland?
Oh, man. What a special kid. Special, I guess, history made for him. Love to see him just go out there and just continue to ball out. And he has a guy that's, in his ear, mentor in Al Harris that has been so amazing with him and working with that secondary. But he also has guys like Stephon Gilmore to help him as well. So I don't know. I think he's really come along very well in just a short amount of time. And I've heard from him about making that second-year jump kind of earlier in the season. And he was like, I was just determined to really be something better than what I was before. And you've seen him obviously in place of Trayvon Diggs, just really kind of come into his own, become a household name.
It's
so
different.
I'm loving that.
Yeah,
it's different
for him too, because we talked about it. He is kind of like shy, and now he is kind of
a light switch.
Thrust. He's really been thrust into the light in this way with his play, because he was even talking about being on ESPN. And he was like, all of this is different for me, because I mean, coming from a smaller school and all that stuff.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. So it's just really dope to your point to see him also taking on this new role and being like someone that people are seeing in the media now too, and when he's not accustomed to that.
Can I say one thing that was really funny was it was in the last minute of the game as they're like just ending the game. It was over after his score, as we all know. But anyway, So Fox carried this game. So Aaron Andrews is the sideline reporter on the Cowboys side for this game. And so towards the end is when they tell one of the PR liaison down on the field, oh, we want so-and-so. We want so-and-so for the thing. So they asked for Dak and DaRon. And so I shouldn't say who because I hadn't asked for permission to talk about this, but one of the PR guys is there in the bench area talking to DaRon, saying, hey, they've asked for this, and then just kind of like filling him in on what. And I just remember thinking, how cool is that for DaRon that you got Aaron Andrews asking for you, and you're going to get to eat one of the turkey legs.
Oh,
It's a big
national
deal,
TV.
right?
Yeah. No, it is. That's a big deal. And something that is so funny about him, I was asking him because we're talking about the anything but Bland thing. And it's like, have you had cool nicknames your whole life with your last name? I'm just curious. And he goes, I mean, not really. And he said, my family calls me names like Ron. And I said, no, but like a nickname.
Yeah.
And he said, I had a coach once that called me the sideline assassin, but that's about it. And I was like, okay, and that's cool.
The sideline
and so
assassin's kind of
I like
he
that.
said he's trying to come up with kind of a nickname,
Yeah.
and he wants to tie it in. So anybody out there has
How about
good
the-
nickname recommendations?
The Blandito.
Oh.
I see
Like
where you're going with
Bandito,
that.
he
I
steals
get it.
things.
I
like
love
that.
it.
The Blandito.
Yeah.
Trademark TM. You heard it here first. It is 4:15 Central
The
on
Blandito.
November 27th.
Love it.
And you
Blandito
heard
is
it
anything
here
but bland.
first.
I like that.
The Blandito. Oh, and Fritos is Frito-Lay, and they're a sponsor. The Frito Blandito.
The Frito
oh my gosh.
Bandito.
She's gonna get
Right,
all
yeah.
these
The Frito
sponsorships.
Blandito.
She's so
Oh my
excited.
goodness.
I like that.
I'm going to talk to our corporate sponsorship people
There you
about that
go.
tomorrow.
There you
Frito
go.
Blandito.
There you go.
You're going to have a mask, and you guys are too young. Do y'all remember the Frito Bandito?
No.
That was a
No.
I don't even know what that
Christine,
is.
don't do
I'm
this.
sorry.
I mean, we know
that was a character. That was their advertising campaign.
Oh.
The Frito Bandito wore a mask, looked like Zorro, right? And he would steal your Fritos.
I honestly
And DaRon Bland steals interceptions.
I
And
love it.
okay, I like
I
that.
kind of like
Frito
this. This is
Blandito.
fun.
I like that.
Nicole, we went
Yeah.
around the table just asking how Thanksgiving was. How
Yeah,
was
how
your
was your
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving,
Thankful
booty?
for all three of you. So, how was your Thanksgiving? my girl?
It was
Okay, well,
it was a Thanksgiving. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get personal, but like, yeah, my mom came to kind of help me out with something, so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it was cool. So we
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
just chilled and yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. Well, we're thankful that you are here, and
Yeah.
we're thankful to be here.
Yeah.
Let's continue talking about this Cowboys defense while we are on the topic of it. Ladies, as we go into this week, a big narrative you're going to start to hear about is the run defense.
Have mercy.
And, it's been a conversation, not just this week, but even going back to last season. How do you feel like up until, because Mike McCarthy breaks this season up into 3 trimesters, they're now going to put a cap on the second trimester with this game coming on Thursday. From what you've seen from this run defense up until this point, what have you seen improvement on, and who specifically is making sure that that is going to be a conversation of the Cowboys' past, if you will?
I can start there. I think that interior has improved drastically with Oso, Diggy Zua really just playing lights out, especially against the Commanders. There was one play, it was, I don't know if it was, it wasn't a sack, but he just ran through the center. Just, I don't remember what play it was, but I mean, the way that he's playing so physical and really setting the tone on that defensive line has really impressed me the most, along with Jonathan Hankins, his first 2-sack game since 2014.
Big Hank. He
Yeah,
had a great
Big Hank,
game.
man. Those guys are balling, and it's freeing up, those guys in the second level and, of course, guys in the secondary to play very freely. So I love the way that those guys interiorly are playing.
Honestly, I still have questions about the
That's
run
fair.
defense, just because Thursday, and it's something that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
But again, it was such a big lead in that game on Thursday, and Sam Howell throws it the most in the league anyway. And once they had to kind of get away Washington from Brian Robinson and running and stuff because they needed to throw even more to try and play catch up, I still want to see more.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Aisha, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm about in that train as well, but at the same token, touching base with quite a few of the guys and really considering the short week and how everything kind of transpired, I didn't expect to see them full speed. I didn't I just didn't going into this game specifically. But in regard to the run defense, I do think that the edges have gotten better at contain.
Yeah.
Damone Clark might have played his best game that I've seen him play this season. Talked to him in the locker room, and he told me that he's seeing it. Like, he's really seeing it, and that's clear on film. So you're getting some good play from your linebackers. Like you mentioned, Nicole, the trickle-down effect of the DTs playing well. I've seen this team play stout run defense, and really for me, it's the consistency.
There you go. That's what I'm
Yes,
kind
ma'am.
of pointing to. I'm glad you said that
Yes,
word.
ma'am. And you're going to, and the beauty of what's coming up next and with this schedule and how things go is like, it's about to get cold.
Yeah.
And people are going to want to run the ball. They're going to commit to run the ball because passing the ball is the harder thing to do in those conditions. So we're going to see this run defense be tested. But I will say that I feel like when they're focused and they're locked in, they're so sound. But there are times where you're just like, what you doing? Why you get pinned inside like that? You's peeking. You's peeking. You have to play your assignment. So there are times where we run into these teams that have these lesser offensive lines that I do think that this defense gets a little aggressive getting upfield, a little out of sync when it comes to just playing their assignment, looking for them to be more disciplined consistently, as Christy was saying. But this next stretch, you ain't gonna have a choice because Seattle got some guys that can tote that rock, so they're gonna have to play sound anyway.
I think for me, kind of what I'm focusing on for their final trimester, if you will, of the season, as far as the defense, is how well they can do on first and second down, not so much third downs, because I think when you start to see a little bit more of the sticky run defense is when you're in those third and short situations. So seeing how they can make long third down scenarios for opposing offenses is kind of what I'm going to really focus on for this final trimester for them. During this game,
that is so good. I mean, that is
Thank you.
great. No, it really is
Thank
a great
you.
point, because if you can stop the run on first and second down, and it's the sure tackling.
Yep.
If it's a 2-yard run, you stop them at 2 yards and don't let them fall forward and get 4 or 5 and have a shorter down and distance. Keep them behind the sticks, to your point of third and long, and that's when they have to pass, and your pass rushers can pin their ears back.
And at that point, you're not feeling like you need to chase a big play to have a sack or to continuously try to beat your edges and have that edge rush become a little bit predictable, if you will. So if you can create those third and long situations, I mean, during this game, Washington was 7 and 15 in third down conversions there. So for me, it's not something that's been tested for a few weeks that I think we can fairly say where it stands. I think Thursday's game against Seattle will say something about it, but that's a bigger conversation I wanted to make sure to have.
Such a good point. That's
Oh,
fantastic.
thank you, guys. Love you. All right. When we come back, we are going to talk all about this Cowboys offense. We're going to talk about the Cowboys run game in general. We did hear from Tony Pollard today, a little bit of what he said in the locker room. Stick with us. This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw. We'll be right back.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Guys, I did something really cool this weekend. I got to see the Dallas Cowboys Christmas extravaganza that was out here at the Star, and it is so fun.
Haven't I been telling you?
It was actually really
For
cool.
2 months.
I wish we got here a little bit later, and so I was a little sad because I wish I would have gotten a closer view of it. I was a little far, couldn't really see much, but it is beautiful. So if you get the chance to come to the Star, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it's Friday and Saturday nights from 6 to 6:25, weather permitting. It is outside, so dress appropriately.
Yeah, it was a little
And
cold.
if it's too, they actually, I believe, canceled Saturdays because there was rain on Saturday,
Yeah.
and you can't have a slippery stage for their performers. And so for their safety, it was canceled. But just a great, they still had Drew Pearson out there to turn the tree on and make some fun with that. But
It's always fun with Drew.
Yeah, it's great. And the rhythm and blues dancers are there, and the junior DCC. Anyway, it's really a fun family event, and it's free.
Well, there you go.
We
Welcome
love
back to Girls Talk Boys Talk.
Yes, and the Christmas extravaganza is extravagant.
Oh God, here it comes.
This Dallas Cowboys offense is playing extravagant.
They're starting to get there. They're figuring their life out a little bit.
I love some puns.
They're figuring out their lives. Hey,
Aren't we all?
We love perfect in the red zone. 3 for 3 in the red zone.
Come
we love
on.
that. Come on.
Come
we
on.
love Tony Pollard embracing that running back number 1 spot.
Yep.
Come on.
We
and we
love
like
that.
Dak Prescott just absolutely
Playing
playing
lights
lights
out.
out.
7th in the NFL red zone percentage.
We're here.
Got you, sis.
Yes.
Imagine
Yes. Imagine.
if we rewound it back to the first couple weeks of the season, and we were just fussing about the red zone, and now they're top 10. So they've definitely figured out some things in that department.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 1 in scoring offense.
Okay, come on.
I also think that bye week did them a lot, paid dividends for when the bye week came post San Francisco. I
Yeah.
think that was the turning point. It wasn't necessarily San Francisco, it was the bye week and what they did during the bye week to be productive, to learn from why the losses were happening.
Yeah.
And so I don't necessarily think a lot of narrative right now is, oh, what did you learn from San Francisco? I'm sorry, Christy, I'm touching your cup over here. Or what did you learn from all of this? I think it's what they chose to do and what they chose to work on during that bye week that is changing everything and making all the right things happen, especially when we're talking about red
and
zone.
I love also throwing down the field. The number of big plays and not being scared, but you also have to credit the offensive line,
That's
and
what
not just for the improved
Yes.
run game, but it takes time for these longer plays to develop. You have to properly protect your quarterback to be able to get the pass off on some of these longer routes, and so I love that it's not a dink and dunk. They can play that if they need to, but I love that they're taking strikes down the field.
Yeah, to that point. To that point, I was when I went back and watched the game today, I noticed very clearly, like, it was just dope to see them go be aggressive. Dak, the ball sailed on Dak to start this game, but just to go with the double move that early, like to just be like, you know what? Let's get this over with. I love that aggressiveness from them. And then also, too, to come back after they had a couple 3 and outs, if I'm not mistaken, to start that game, to come back. And then, if 4 sees you playing cover 2, middle of the field open,
Bye.
that seam ball is coming. He's so comfortable attacking the middle of the field. It's really dope to see him grow into
Turpin.
Yeah, but it's really dope to see him. Yeah, but it's dope to see him grow into that quarterback. Because if I learned correctly, the way that a quarterback attacks the middle of a field tells you a lot about how they can play this game. And it just the aggressiveness to go downfield, and to me, we talked about it. That's opening up the run game. That's opening up a lot of the underneath stuff. So it's working. I also touched base with Tyler Biotish today when you mentioned the offensive line, Christy, and the improvements that they are making. The tight ends are doing some phenomenal blocking down
They really
there.
are.
Yes.
The usage of Hunter Lipke, it's so quiet, but it's very effective. It's been very effective with him just getting to the second level and getting his nose in there and open things up. But yeah, to your point, this offensive line, the duo and combo blocks have been very effective for them. So I asked Tyler Biotish, why is that? Why is that effective? Because if you go look at the Chiefs when they won the Super Bowl, their offensive line wasn't nearly as good as the Cowboys is right now. But they duo and combo blocked their lives away until, to get their offense going. And so he told me that it really allows them to press the line of scrimmage. It allows the running back to press the line of scrimmage, but it also gives them leverage and that's what he was telling me. But he also said that when you do the duo and combo blocks, it pushes, you can push the offensive lineman into the running back, to the linebackers rather, so they can't fill as effectively. And I really think that's something that's been very helpful for this offensive line. The duo and combo blocks have been very effective. It's helping them get to the second level, and I think that's why you see a TP starting to really explode. They got Rico involved.
Yeah.
Love that this offensive line. I asked them, I was like, did y'all attack the edges on purpose because y'all knew that their edges wasn't that good? And they was like, yeah, because that first scoring drive, they went at the edges. It's screens, Tony bouncing to the outside, some outside zone stuff. It was dope. And I think that's growth from this offense, like we talked about, is that they can play the matchup game. If you're weak here, we're going there. And I enjoy seeing that. But, yeah, this offensive line is starting to gel, but they're also starting to figure out what works for them, especially in the run game, because they're going to need to be able to run this ball consistently coming up. So, yeah, I know that was a mouthful, but I wanted y'all to know what Tyler Biotish told me about the duo and combo blocks, because that's one of the biggest differences I see. And then Tyron is just a beast.
Yeah. And finally, they have some continuity.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, what is this, game 3?
4.
3 games without a sack?
Oh,
Three games
I'm
without a
sorry.
sack.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I thought you meant the starters being together.
3 without a sack.
3 without a
yes.
sack.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that was me. It was me because I switched it. I should have just stayed
It's
with
okay.
it. But yes, 3 games without a sack. And how many games have they played together?
4.
4. So I do, to your guys' point, that definitely does seem like a reason why they're starting to gel, the communication and stuff. And Terrence Steele, shout out to him.
Yeah.
You can tell that he's made some little things he's worked on and improved, and he does look stronger out there. And I'm proud of him because he was getting tore up in the media.
And he's still the only player on offense that has played 100% of snaps this year.
That's
And that's
crazy.
coming off the serious injury.
Yep.
It's like, is he going to be ready for camp or the season? And then he's the only one that's played 100%.
Absolutely.
And that's something that's very difficult, playing that many snaps and still having to hold down the fort. I think that's pretty crazy. But as far as this running back room, Tony Pollard, you mentioned it before that they've just gotten so much better in pass pro as well.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, you see it, especially with Rico. Didn't get that many carries, only three. Against the Commanders. But you're seeing him be effective in other ways, especially in pass pro. And that's something that he said that he was focused on this offseason. And it's helped him become more of an all-around back. What have y'all liked from those guys in that room as far as pass pro?
Well, a lot of it has to do with attitude and willingness.
Say that.
And
That's
subjugating
perfect.
your stats or your ego or whatever for the greater good of the play.
Yeah.
It's doing the dirty work, which is what Zeke did.
Yeah.
So, but you still have to, you can have the willingness and the want to, but you still have to have the recognition as well. And there have been times where he's lined up and he's had to go across and pick up the guy.
Yeah.
And so there's no time to waste. I mean, if once you see it, you have to react right then, because if you're a tick late, it's going to be too late for your quarterback.
Yeah.
It almost feels like Tony Pollard kind of went back to his basics to refine what he already knew to grow and get better. Because and that's something that you hear Coach McCarthy talk about all the time, is going back to basics and fundamentals. But what I like about it is that was something that he was highly scrutinized on before coming into the starting position when Zeke was leaving. And he knew that. Everyone knew that. It's not like it was a secret, and it was a lot of noise about that being a big question of if he was even ready to take that role because of the pass pro aspect of his game, and the fact that he's almost become so good at it that you're not talking about it in less than a year. Hasn't even been a full year that we were questioning the pass pro aspect of his game. And look at him now. Yeah. And so, it is frustrating when people are questioning if he's still the same Tony Pollard. That in itself should show you he's not the same Tony Pollard. He's a better version of the Tony Pollard that you already knew. I do think people tend to forget as well that this offense, it's okay that it changes identities and that it's not a run-heavy offense.
Yeah.
That's okay. And I think that's where people kind of get this misconception of, is he as productive? Is Rico as productive? You're playing a totally different game than you were last year with 2 completely different offensive systems. And I think people tend to forget that. And so when we're talking about, this amp up that we're seeing from both Rico and Tony, it's justified. It's absolutely justified because we still have not completely seen what they're capable of doing, especially when you're seeing Dak Prescott play like he is with his pass game. You can't disrupt that. You can't disrupt the chemistry that he's building with Brandon Cooks, with CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Tolbert's getting involved. And there's just so many different moving parts that it's easier said than done to say to run the ball more. If it's not a favorable matchup to run the ball, you don't have to force it. But I'm so glad you brought that up about Tony Pollard, because he absolutely has worked hard to make sure that part of his game was shiny and pretty for the season, needless to say it is.
Yeah, it's one of the first things that I noticed this season, and I was really kind of looking at it in consideration to people saying that Tony lost a step and all this stuff. I'm like, well, do y'all see him sacrificing his body out here with these blitz pickups? Yeah. I do also too like that it's not just him with the pass protection. They're using Hunter Lipke. These tight ends are stepping in. Yep. And to your point, Jess, when you talk about running the ball, there are several ways to run the ball. There are several ways to get your running backs involved. And you know what? Cowboys are starting to do that stuff. I mean, the screens, the tosses. Also, too, they're lining up Tony as a receiver at times. That opens up your offense as well. And there are even times where they line him up as a receiver, but he comes in and kind of helps out with Terrence, in certain plays. So to your point, that he definitely deserves his flowers for how much he has sacrificed his body. Because on sometimes those blitz pickups, he's literally throwing his body at some of these DNs come in trying to save his quarterback, and they're quite about twice this game where it was like, if he doesn't make that block, that play doesn't work. Yeah. And so definitely starting to see, and I think Mike McCarthy mentioned actually at the start of training camp, he said that they had been obsessing over. When they got back here, they obsessed over pass protection with these running backs, and it's just been an upward tick all year just seeing them, because the awareness has to be there too. It's not just go out there, block somebody. When people are doing stunts and blitzes and stuff, they also have to be able to read what the defense is doing and be in communication with the quarterback. So big jump from him, and you're 100% right. Baby, go ask around. Not every running back is doing anything in pass pro. Some of the best in the league don't even do anything in pass pro. So to have him add that to his little Infinity Gauntlet is really nice to see from him. So
the TP Infinity Gauntlet, I like that.
I like that. That's pretty dope. I like that. All right, ladies, let's go ahead and take our second break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll be right back.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Okay, 'tis the season for youth football and dance camps presented by Invisalign. Don't miss your chance to learn from the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and former NFL players at AT&T Stadium on December 22nd and 23rd. Celebrate the holidays with the Cowboys. Register today at dallascowboys.com/camps.
Yep.
Yay.
Tis the season for some youth camps.
We love that.
I have friends that do it. I have friends that I have a friend that's he's in Georgia.
Who's your friend that coaches? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I don't know.
They do it in Georgia?
No. He brings his kiddo to the
From
camps.
Georgia.
And he said that it actually has really influenced his play, his game and stuff. So I can just attest to, the camps being helpful to some of these young kids, and also gives them the opportunity to get some coaching, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I do shout outs at the end of it, because the afternoon you have like a game, and then the dance camp, they do like the halftime, and then their routines at the end of the first quarter, the end of the third quarter, one at the end of the game, and then the big halftime extravaganza.
That's so cute.
But anyway, then people come on the field, the parents or guardians, whoever, family and friends come down to the field to get the kids.
Yeah.
And so I go around and like, where are you from? And we'll shout it out. And I mean, they come from, and they come from like
all over.
Canada,
That's
Mexico,
Wow.
come from Japan. I mean,
So
it's,
cool.
it's a lot of
so
fun.
cool.
'Tis the season for some youth camps, but also 'tis the season for some more Cowboys dubs.
Oh, okay.
Come on,
okay.
Nicole. All right. No, I mean, the way that this
love
team
it.
is playing and everything is coming together, I feel like we asked this question, I believe, in week 6. But do y'all feel like at this point of the season that this team is finally at a point where it needs to be?
Well, I mean, there's still areas where you can, what?
Just like, who's going first? Who's going?
Everyone's like moving back from the microphone.
Right.
No, it's a chance for our run defense to show up and say and do, because we were talking about they hadn't with these big leads, the other teams have not run as much. But I mean, I feel like the whole team is really hitting its stride, just at the right time.
Yes.
And I think one of the biggest challenges moving forward is, making sure that you can stay healthy. Because when you get into December football, and I know we got the Thursday night game, it's November 30th, so not technically December game yet, but
Almost.
it's
Close enough.
Especially that final month, it becomes a war of attrition.
Absolutely.
And so, and if you think about what this defense has done without Trayvon Diggs and without Leighton Vander Esch, I mean, that's really amazing. So kudos to Damone Clark and to Marquise Bell. And, Rashawn Evans is coming. It's been a group effort. It's not just a plug-and-play one-for-one. And you have to also commend the coordinators as well for bringing in the different people and kind of redistribution in a way of
Even
some
John
of the
Fussell.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, special teams, what he lost C.J. Goodwin and just some of the tweaks, having Sam Williams, a 260-pound defensive end as a gunner. But yeah, the trickle-down effect is to special teams. You're absolutely right. But I think that moving forward, it's going to all depend on complementary football, right? Winning at least 2 of the 3 phases of the game. Because when you go against the really good teams that you're going to be going against, and Seattle, Seattle is a wounded team, so look out for wounded teams. They really, 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 really need this win at AT&T Stadium on Thursday night to really stay in contention. I mean, mathematically, they're not eliminated. It's not like that. But they'll be on the outside looking in and possibly not controlling their own destiny. They're 6-5, and so they're outside of the wild card right now. So it's going to be a really important game for them.
I also think it goes back to, and I was so glad that Dak talked about this today in the scrum, is that teams are going to play the Cowboys differently, period. And I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say that word for word, but he did mention how teams are always going to put their best foot forward to beat this Cowboys team. Whether you're a wounded team or whether you're a team looking for a confidence booster or any kind of win you want, whether you're a Philadelphia Eagles team that wants to just fortify their number 1 spot, no matter what the circumstances, you're going to get everything from any team that comes to AT&T Stadium specifically, because what better confidence booster is it for a wounded team or a team that has no confidence or a team looking for a number 1 spot than to get an away win at AT&T Stadium that has notoriously just been where the Cowboys play their best football. So to answer your question, Nicole, I like where they are right now. But I do think the areas of improvement that they have approved upon need to continue to be improved upon. So, for example, red zone, I want to continue to see that production in the red zone. I don't want to see any drawbacks on that. In fact, what I would like to see a little bit more of, tight ends in the red zone, even maybe a little bit more Rico Dowdle, Tony Pollard in the red zone. I want to see a little bit more of that. Penalties, that's another big one that comes to my mind, is the Cowboys are second in the league right now for overall penalties. You can't really change that now, but stop with the self-inflicted wounds. Earlier starts, that's another thing we haven't been able to see from them yet. So just little aspects of the game that can make it easier for them to win games sooner and not necessarily have to take it into the fourth quarter to be scrambling. These are not should-win games anymore. You're heading into tougher matchups. You're not going to be as, I don't want to say lucky, but as likely to see Dak Prescott with his ball cap on in the fourth quarter going into these next few weeks. So there's still some areas of improvement, but they've been on the track to improving them, so I just want to continue to see that.
Yeah, this week what?
12.
Feels like a million.
They pretty much what they're
Actually,
gonna be.
13 because of the bye, yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much are what they're going to be.
Yeah.
And there might be like some few improvements that they're able to make from now to then, but at this point, it's kind of what it is. Like I feel like to your point, you mentioned the war of attrition. I believe that the last couple years, if I'm not mistaken, going into the playoffs, the Cowboys have been considered one of the healthier
Absolutely.
teams. Mike McCarthy does a really good job of managing these gentlemen and making sure they're healthy. So oddly enough, this ain't wood. Oddly enough, that's something that I'm not super terrified of, because also too, this season's so long. When you think about the beginning of the season, I felt like the Cowboys took the hit then. I mean, the offensive linemen being out. We had 3 backup offensive linemen in that Cardinals game. The Cowboys got hit with some injuries very early, and I think they've managed that well. But to this point, I've enjoyed, especially watching the film and things like that. I've enjoyed watching them grow. It's something to be said about, I think, past years we've seen them be really good to start the season or really good in the middle of the season, and there's a taper off, or it just doesn't look the same. And this year, it's just been dope to just see them progress and just add on to. And to your point, the run defense being consistently stout, to me, just puts together the trifecta, and then you can go play football, because I think the offense we know what they're good at. To your point, I think this defense has shown what they can do, what they can't do, whatever the case may be. For me, it's just them continuing to gel, but where they are right now, sprinkle in a few improvements first, like the quick starts, to your point, Jess, the penalties and the run defense. After that, this is a really good football team, and they're going to, right now, to your point, we can look at the run defense, the penalties, and the situational football, because that's what's going to be important, because this is probably going to be some playoff feeling games coming up here soon.
Yes. Yeah.
So how they adjust to that, playing in the fourth quarter when you haven't had to play in the fourth quarter for a lot of these games, being in some of these tight situations and stuff, I do think that will be the next thing that I'm looking for, is how they handle these closer games and how they deal with things situationally. Other than that, they are what they are to me at this point, really, truly. Yeah. And we'll see how things go. But yeah, it's the money time.
Whoa.
It's the money time. It's a serious, I'm hyped.
I don't know about business.
No, I'm hyped. If you're not excited about this upcoming schedule, it's gonna tell you so much about your team. You're about to learn a lot about them. You're gonna learn a lot about this coaching staff, but we're also gonna learn a lot about our opponents and some of the people we might see in the playoffs later.
That's true.
This film is gonna be valuable, because just like the Cowboys are what they kind of are right now, so's Philly, so's Seattle, so are these other teams. So it's you can get more information as well at this point in time. So I'm excited. I'm lit about this next part of the season.
This lit.
I am.
She's
This
lit.
is the fun part. This is the fun part. It's the ending stretch. Come on with it.
Everything's been an appetizer till now. Now we finally get to carve into the entree.
Yeah, we can find out.
That was
She been dropping bars today.
That was poetic.
I'm just hungry.
Same.
All right, well, let's see if the Cowboys can carry over and be consistent this week against the Seattle Seahawks. But we're going to break down that matchup tomorrow. That'll do it for today, though. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see y'all mañana.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!